Well, hello. Hi. Okay, so for this episode, I thought it would be fun to show those of you who like to do impressions or like to do accents how to do that. So I'm going to show you today how to do a Drew Barrymore impression.
You know what? I am so sorry to interrupt you, Drew Barrymore here.
A lot of people have asked me to do this, and I've also been inspired by my good friend Jim Meskimen of the Impression Guys, who also does amazing impressions and has some great tutorials on his YouTube channel. So please check it out, especially if you're a guy and you want to do impressions, and they're very funny. Okay, so here's what you want to do. One of the first things I do when I pick an impression is I pick somebody that has sort of the same vocal range I do. So Drew Barrymore is somebody who is sort of in my vocal wheelhouse, if you will. Okay, so two ways to do an impression for me. One is like when I was younger, I would just listen on my headphones to the person over and over and over again. And that's how I would learn. And I had a good ear and I could listen and then start imitating them. So that's one way. The other way is to watch them on TV or in a movie and watch the way that they use their mouth, watch where their tension is, do an impression of the way that their face moves, and that will actually lend itself to getting that voice a little more accurate for you. So for Drew, step one is, she has that little lisp, but instead of sort of adding on the lisp to her speaking voice, you're trying to work against the lisp. You're trying not to have that lisp. And that's, I think, a more accurate way to approach her. Plus, when she speaks with such passion and love about whatever she's speaking about. And so when she's speaking, she's got the tension right here. And it's almost like, so much of it is in your mouth. And when she speaks, sometimes she gets stuck on certain words. And so you don't want to make every single word like that unless you're doing an exaggerated version of the character, which is fine too. So you want to sort of pepper that in, certain words stretching out longer. Your tension is right in here. And every time your tongue comes up to meet, this part of your mouth, it just sort of gets stuck there a little bit. The other thing I'm doing when I do a Drew Barrymore impression is I'm thinking about how wonderful things are, and I'm just fresh to the world. That's a very important attitude to have when you're doing Drew. You want to think of where she's coming from. So if I just did this, it's sort of like the voice sounds like her, but it's not totally embodying her. But when I go like this and I'm I just feel like somebody needs to help me. So here's the recap. Number one, try to get the essence of who they are and how they see the world. Are they bored? Are they entitled? Are they constantly aware of what they look like whenever what they're doing? Are they just sort of posing? Are they just totally unaware like Drew, or she's just wants to say something that's so meaningful and she wants to get it across to you and she's almost childlike? So you want to try to get their essence behind the voice. That's really important. Number two, you want to see where their tension is in their mouth. So with Drew, it's right here. It's on the sides of the mouth and it's coming up with your tongue and sort of getting stuck on words. Also, you want to think about your voice going back in your throat just a little bit. Sometimes she gets sort of back in her throat like this. Opposed to doing this up front here, she sort of goes back like this. She gets a little bit grovelly or raspy. And just listening to them over and over again. And sometimes it helps with celebrities to start with one of their catchphrases I'm not Josie Grossi anymore.
I'm not Josie Grossi anymore!
That will get you sort of warmed up into how the person speaks. So that's it. Thanks for joining me in Impressions from Bed. And if you have an impression you want me to try to do for you or an accent you want to master, make a comment below and I will do my best to show you how to do it. Until next time, bye. Thanks for watching.